All right, we start this evening with the call to the public. If you're individual, you have 3 minutes. If you're a group, you have 5 minutes. If you are a group, you need to have your group here with us. If you're a group, you have 5 minutes. If you are a group, you need to have your group here with us.
My name is Sharon Haugen.
Frank Paolini.
Harold Smith.
On July 15th, I was notified when I reported my daughter missing. They said that she had been found dead in Bullhead City outside of her car. Once they verified that I was the mother, they asked me if she is married, and I said yes. And I gave them their phone number of her estranged husband in Washington. She had just moved here. Come to find out, if they had just looked in her purse, here, on the second page, which was in their possession, the purse and her belongings, there was a listing there for her estranged husband. That's the reason they said they couldn't find a next of kin, and she had died on July 13th, outside of a friend's house, in their driveway. The friend said when I finally found out where she was by the funeral director, because I wasn't told by the city, they said she was just found outside of her car in Bullhead. They said that she had left and that we thought she'd gone home. And I said, why would she go home in a swimsuit and leave her clothes here? So when I went back there a couple days later with Frank, the woman said, oh no, you made a mistake. I made a mistake or didn't make it clear that she went outside to make a phone call to her mother in private. And I said, why would she do that in 115-degree heat? Because she was always invited there to swim and have lunch for several times now. And didn't you wonder why she didn't come back through the front door? Well, we thought she went in the back gate, which is a way around the back, and came in the back. And then she went in the back room and took a nap. And I said, for 3.5, 4 hours, you never knew she was not there? You never checked outside? Well, we couldn't see if her car was there or not, and we didn't know. We thought she was in the back room. Well, when the police were called by a lady that screamed next door, that's the only way this woman, her friend, knew that she was not in the back room, that she was outside, and she had been laying out there for about 3.5, 4 hours, roasted by the sun. The police never looked in her purse, evidently, to notify anybody. And then the medical examiner says, we're not going to do an autopsy because we never do one on a natural death. I said, how do you know it's natural? Well, she's burned in the sun here. I said, but she's been there for 3.5 hours. That's not the reason that she died. You don't get heat exhaustion walking from an air-conditioned house and then walk a minute, 20-some feet to your car and keel over from heat exhaustion. I said, I'd be dead a long time ago walking from the Safeway parking lot into the Safeway and back. The whole thing was mishandled. And they refused to do an autopsy, saying it was a natural death. And the worst thing above it all is they were notified, the police were notified that she had an old dog in her house. What does that mean?
That means your time's up.
Well, he's given me his time.
You can't do that.
Well, they left the dog in the house, and they went there and said, we knocked on the door, and nobody was there, so they left. And the policeman...
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Well, the policeman said...
Your time is up, ma'am.
Well,
sorry.
I don't care. The policeman said...
Well, your time is up, ma'am. I'm sorry. I feel for you, but your time is still up.
They left the dog in the house for 2.5 days with no food or water.
Next. Ma'am, please, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff. My name is John Hassett. I'm the Director of Operations for the Mojave County Medical Examiner's Office. First off, I wanted to render my sincere condolences to Ms. Haugen, but she departed early. It was brought to my attention by our forensics manager and supervisory investigator that a Facebook post had been circulating and gaining some traction, which kind of demanded my attendance here. I'm not here as a rebuttal, and I know it's some very sensitive subject matter. I'm not trying to cause any additional problems, but I do want to make it very clear and alleviate any concerns that people may have. So there were some extenuating circumstances regarding that investigation. I can assure you that both Bullhead City Police Department as well as my division did ample due diligence during the day of the investigation. Obviously, I can't go over those things in a public setting, so for that I hope you completely understand, but I would encourage Ms. Haugen as well as any other individuals who have questions, comments, concerns, or individuals who've taken part in the comments said on Facebook about not only the city, Bullhead City PD, and also my department, that all of this information is public record. They would need to first go to Bullhead PD and obtain a copy of the police report, which would then render them the medical examiner's case number, and then they can call my department to obtain the investigative report. So I know that interaction with call to the public isn't condoned. I do have a law enforcement only copy of the investigative report if any member of law enforcement would like to review it or have a copy of it. And if there are any further questions regarding this case or any other cases, to please contact my office and speak with myself or any of our forensics managers to do so. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll close the call to the public. All right, we start this evening with the call to the public. If you're individual, you have 3 minutes. If you're a group, you have 5 minutes. If you are a group, you need to have your group here with you, and let us know in advance. And I just have to say something. At the last council meeting, there were a lot of people. They had their 3 minutes. You could speak your piece while you're up here. When other people are speaking and we're conducting business, you can't be disruptive in the audience. All right, we'll close the call to the public. Now, when someone comes at us personally, we're allowed to rebut, and I'm going to do that right now. First of all, Mr. Pryor, I've even asked, because you did message me on social media requesting a meeting. I'm not asking for your reply. It's my turn to speak. You had your turn to speak. So I even asked the city, has Harvey called yet? I'm expecting him to call for a meeting. I have never got any information that you requested a meeting. I got some from somebody that didn't want to give their name, and then they claimed to be a reporter from the LA Times and said they were going to write a good story about my personal stuff. I thought that might be you, but I never received one, so I would say try again. And another thing, we are elected by the people. We do represent the people. And you're allowed to say whatever you want up here. But you think if somebody like Rich makes a report on it, you call them for the kitty cat word. We're humans too. You can hear me fine. You can hear me fine. You'll hear this. We are also humans too, and don't think just because we're elected officials, we have the same First Amendment rights that you do. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Pryor, you could kiss my ass too. That goes with you, Mr. Scotty McClure. You also could kiss my ass. I enjoy the same First Amendment rights that you guys do. And that's just a figure of speech. I wouldn't want your crusty faces anywhere near my ass. You want to be asked to leave? This is my time, you had your time. One more comment from either one of you and you'll be put out. So you can do that now or you can do it later. That includes giving your little fingers too. All right, with that being said, we're going to move on. Agenda modifications.